She looks pretty unfamiliar to you, honestly. I mean, there's a limited number of, well, I mean, a somewhat limited number of people that, it could be, but as far as you could tell, she has no physical similarities other than maybe skin tone, but that's about it between anyone you met other than Drow. And most Drow tend to have a darker, sort of almost purplish skin tone.
You said it was blue, right?
Yes. Sort of
So it's
a.
probably that watery tart. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
um,
Oh,
she sort of.
wait, did she actually say it's been a while since you've killed me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I don't know if she can hear me, but I'm going to reply back. You're going to have to be more specific. We've killed a lot of people.
Yes,
You see this. You see this sort of almost knowing smile come across her face. She just sort of nods at you. Doesn't really reply directly to what you just said, but continues speaking, turning towards Dice, and says, "Hello, Dysonius. Or is it Dice now? Either way, I'm sure your brother wouldn't like to meet you again, and your sister's been very useful. However, I may have some plans for you soon. Regardless, it seems you've all found your way to my humble abode. It's very interesting. But it seems for the moment you're all weakened. Advantageous for me, not so much for you.
Fuck you, you dumb bitch.
Do you say that out loud?
Sure do.
Yeah, so the answer was yes. She does look like a bitch.
Well, I mean, again, that's really up to you guys. But again, she smiles, and I need you to make me a wisdom save, Nyx. All right, you are unable to speak. At least for the moment. You see her sort of just wave her hand. She doesn't seem to focus on you much. She just sort of silences you and continues.
Bitch face.
No sound comes out.
Well, it's just a look. It's not really a.
Yeah.
Full on RFB.
Hey, how much piercing damage does she take with the daggers coming out of Nyx's eye?
It seems she seems to have some kind of arcane shield against things like that. But it's yeah. Okay. Hey, Zuzia. But she does sort of look over each of you. And then sort of almost musing to herself, you can just kind of hear her say, "Why would he be so interested in you? All of you. Makes no sense."
You're right,
Still,
so you should let us go.
She then turns to you, Lucian, and smiles. Says, "Well, I find nothing redeeming about any of you. However, it seems that Rokan does. So you'll have to play my bait." Nevertheless, I'm sure he's on his way. He
Cool.
has to
Wake me
be.
when he gets here. And Lucian goes, sits down in a corner.
Which corner? It matters.
Well,
we
definitely
still
not
have
one
the
of
hut.
these two corners.
We still have the hut up, don't we?
No.
We
You
didn't
guys-
cast the
No.
hut.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you're
This
just in the
corner.
room. Right. She then sort of turns to you, Ta, and says, "So, do you know why Rokan has taken such an interest in you?"
Well, obviously it's because of my dashing good looks.
Aha. Perhaps you know him by a different name.
Yeah, I kind of already figured it out.
For those of you.
Because he's the only one
Slow.
of you that isn't here.
No, there are several that are not.
Okay, fine. That we've seen that I remember. I don't really care about you guys enough to remember all of you.
Fair enough. You're forgettable as well. Nevertheless,
Could I give
Apparently
like whatever the visual version of K? K.
I mean, you can. I don't know what that would be.
Performance.
I don't know. I'll just shrug.
All right. Regardless, it seems that you've come across something that my friend here, and she sort of gestures to Chorgus, would like back. And, well, we have our uses for dice, of course. Still, the rest of you. Well, I suppose we can use you to attract his attention further.
Yeah, probably not.
She's almost not even talking to you. She's more just, again, it's almost like musing out loud.
Yes.
Turns to Chorgus and says, "Have you found the seventh?" And he sort of turns and sort of waves his hand at all of you, sort of in a "Are you sure you want to talk about this in front of them?" sort of gesture, and you hear her say, "Oh, it's fine. They're not going anywhere. Besides, if they leave, they'll probably be dead, and it won't matter. Regardless, did you find her?" To which you just see the massive figure of Chorgus, now looking a bit smaller than he did before, for whatever reason. Like, just a little bit shorter. Still imposing as fuck, but a little bit shorter, seeming to barely fit within the tunnel. Sort of nod in affirmation. Interesting. Well, if we can collect her, and you, and me, and if we can get Tholves back, that gives us a majority. At that point, there won't be a fight anymore. Nevertheless, we do need to get Rokan to stand down. Very well. Find out what they know. Send whoever to do the job. I don't care. And assemble some troops. We'll go ahead and begin planning a bit of a kidnapping. Again, you see sort of Chorgus just nod. Turns to all of you except for Gad.
Hello.
Like, they haven't even been paying attention to you. And she looks over each of you, and I need a wisdom save from everyone except for Gad. We're just gonna see.
Have
Yeah.
fun
I'm here,
bombing
but I haven't
mine.
even pulled my character sheet up.
Yeah, no worries. That's a 6. Okay.
God, are you sure you wanted me to roll for you, Saber?
Dude, my wisdom's always bad. You could roll the 1. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about
2 6s. So
Uh, what am I clicking?
Wisdom save.
Right under proficiency bonus. Can be strength, dexterity, blah blah blah.
wisdom saving throw.
Oh, wisdom. I forgot the word wisdom.
Yep, no worries. Ooh.
Oh,
Oh,
If
7.
only you had advantage.
yeah. Whoops.
All right, so
Yeah.
Nyx, you are the only person not affected by the hold person spell.
I'm gonna flip the bitch off.
She smiles at you. The door opens, and Chorgus sort of just walks in. I mean, very kind of nonchalantly, honestly. He doesn't seem to be worried about anything. And essentially showing that you were not actually under the effects of that, he is going to go ahead and make a grapple check against you. 21.
I can't roll that.
Yeah, but you're not 20. It'd be athletics or acrobatics to get out of it if you want to try.
Okay.
I believe.
Nope.
Nope.
I didn't believe hard enough.
All right. So as Nyx, as you are sort of dragged out of the room, a couple of bone demons also come in, or bone devils, and start collecting each of you, and pulling you out into the hallway. And then, sort of as he's walking down the hallway, Chorgus turns to the female figure and simply says, "And what of that one, the Mordenkin?" Gad, as you can see her, she's directly outside the door. She looks to you, shrugs, walks off.
Yeah. While I'm still in like my powered down mode and trying to figure out what to do with this fucking orb in my chest.
turn him into a
Alright.
toaster.
I mean,
I'm also ignoring them for now.
fair enough. So, as you guys are pulled out, chains are affixed to your wrists and ankles, sort of manacles, and you are each pulled into rooms. So Ta and Zuzia are in one. Lucian and Nyx are in another. Gad, you're left alone.
Excuse me, I would like a new roommate.
I don't feel safe.
I don't think you have a choice. You are on either side of these roughly 15-foot cube rooms. You are each sort of chained up to the wall in a very uncomfortable position on opposite sides of the wall, or opposite walls rather, and sort of left there. Gad, you see this as nobody else does, but Dice is then led out with
I assume
the
a
female
gag.
figure. Actually, no. He is sort of led out in between two bone devils, with the female figure and the figure in the cloak sort of leading the way as they walk off down the hallway to the left from your perspective. Everybody else has gone to the right. At this point, you also see that large, imposing figure of Chorgus sort of step up to the doorway. And if you could see a Death Knight's plate armor smile for some reason, that's what you see. Hello, Mordenkin. I understand you have something of great power within you. I don't care. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch you die. And it's going to be quite gratifying. And you see him reach out to the side of, just out of view on the side of the door, or on the wall, just past the door. And then you hear sort of a familiar burbling noise as the room once again begins to fill with the liquid.
Oh, I assume my plug has been completely dissolved by now.
At this point, yeah, this has been long enough, unfortunately.
How long has it been?
About 5 minutes or so.
Well, that certainly doesn't bode well. Shit.
God, Georgius really is a bitch.
Yeah, no answer for now. I'm gonna continue trying to attune to the orb just enough to tap into it.
Okay.
I want his armor though. That's dibs it when we kill him. Dib.
He is armor. So.
No, what? No, I mean the death thing. Jorkis.
Oh. Okay. We'll see if we get there. Okay, so Gad, you're attempting to vaguely attune to. Okay.
I've been trying to do it since I got sent here. Started powering
Yeah.
down.
Okay. Make me a religion check.
Okay.
Okay. You sort of think into to the orb in your chest, and you can see strange symbols floating almost at the edges, just in the corner of your mind as you're attempting to connect with it. It's almost asking. You can almost feel like an insistence of some kind, asking for something. A password maybe, or a token, or something. But it seems that currently your connection has not had enough time to sort of establish or your ability to understand what this item may want currently, as the acid begins to fill the room further. The rest of you are in your individual rooms, or in your sort of paired up rooms. If there's anything you'd like to try to do.
We still under hold person?
No, that's faded. You do have
Okay.
manacles on you though, hands and feet.
But like up against the wall, kind of like
Yeah,
classic
so
dungeon kind of.
yeah, kind of classic dungeon thing. The arms are sort of above you in an uncomfortable position. With the chains themselves sort of on the wall, and then your feet also seem to be basically manacled through a large steel ring on the ground that seems to be embedded into the stonework in such a way as to be very strong and kind of solid. So you are, at least for this exact moment, you are very, very much there, stuck there, kind of.
Okay. Hey, Tanaka, how many
He is not in the same room as you.
second level spell slots do I have left? No, whoever's got
Oh, okay.
Second level, 0.
Damn it. Fuck. Alright, never mind.
I'm guessing you was going for enlarge, reduce.
Oh yeah, I was gonna reduce slip through the chains. Well, fine. I guess I will just try and rip them out of the wall, because what the fuck?
Okay. That's an athletics.
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 Ooh.
Very nice. Okay.
Nat 20 or just 20?
28.
Oh, 28.
Natural
Oh,
19.
Pretty close. Alright, pretty close.
Yeah. So as you sort of bring the chains that are sort of above you, right? Those are the ones to focus on. You can get the most weight on them. And you just start pulling. And you can see the metal ring itself sort of beginning to pull out of the wall. The chains themselves are not breaking. You notice this. They seem incredibly strong. However, the point where this steel ring is embedded into the wall, you are literally pulling it out of the wall slowly. You spend probably a good 5-6 minutes doing this, slowly making further and further progress. Even with that amount of strength, applied to this thing, I mean, it is difficult to pull it out. However, you get to a point where you feel like with one more, solid just tug down, you'd be able to pull it out. However, at that point, you hear the doors in you and Zuzia's room sort of click as a lock is being unlocked and the door begins to swing open.
Okay, no, that's perfect. I'll stop right there.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and Andy Dufresne this.
All right.
Where's your magic spoon?
So, quickly, we'll jump to Nyx and Lucian, who are in the other cell, so to speak. About 5 minutes have gone by at this point. If there's anything you guys wanted to do, you do notice that because both of you are magical practitioners, you or more solidly, primarily magical practitioners, you guys have a pretty good idea that the chains themselves are definitely magical. And it seems like many of the locks and doors have magical components to them. In fact, this entire place seems to be vaguely magical. And it seems that in this room, you wouldn't know that it's as opposed to the other. There seems to be a small black orb sitting in the center of the room, about 10 feet from you, from right in between the two of you, so about 10 feet from you each. I want to make sure I give you guys a chance to...
Could I roll an Arcana check to see if I know what that is?
Sure.
Also, real quick, can Nyx talk
God
yet or
damn it!
no?
Really?
Yeah, you're not sure at all. It looks like a really pretty black orb, though. I mean, it's shiny. I'm sorry. What did you want to do next?
Can she talk yet?
Yeah. You appear to be able to speak.
Okay. I guess she wants to try to see if she can like slip out of the cuffs at all, like try to wiggle her way out.
Okay. You kind of like how would you do that? Like, I'm not necessarily what check, just like how do you want to attempt to wiggle out of them? Like, are you pulling? Are you?
I guess she would kind of like, you know how like you take your thumb and you pull it over your palm, kind of like something like that, where she's like kind of shortening or kind of manipulating the shape of her wrist.
Okay.
So to speak.
So as you sort of do that and try to like make your wrist just a little bit smaller to sort of slide it out, you can feel the manacles themselves resize to fit the new dimensions of your wrist. That appears to be one of the major effects of these manacles, is to consistently bind whatever is trapped within them.
Well, that's good to know.
You don't. You haven't tried anything like that.
No, but I mean, from my standpoint, because I can't cast the spell anyway.
True.
I guess I would just relay that to Lucian.
All right. So you can hear a little bit distantly the sound of a loud, like, sort of thunk, and the sound of a door opening sort of nearby, but not in your room. And that's where we're going to do a quick jump back to Gad. Gad, the acid at this point has nearly covered the floor of the room, and Chorgus is just sort of sitting there, staring at you.
Very well. I will attempt to tap into the orb again, and this time, remembering back to the origin of it, like how the old mayor was had to burn a tree every day, but it was like keeping him in check and keeping him alive.
Mm-hmm.
I will offer to the orb as I'm trying to attune to it just a little bit again. All fire needs fuel. I will feed you the souls of the unjust.
Edgy.
You when you sort of I'm assuming you're sort of saying this mentally.
Yes.
But when you hear or when you say fuel, you almost feel this longing, this almost need for fuel, for something to burn, but beyond that, currently, no real response beyond that, unfortunately.
Okay.
You get the idea that it has no want or care for unjust souls or anything like that. It appears, well, you got what you want out of it. I mean, that seems to be about as much as you can get.
I will open my chest and shove all of the 5 pounds of wood I have left in there.
Okay. Okay, we'll get to you in just a second. You sort of gather up the wood and begin to do that. Are you facing Chorgus while you do this, or facing away?
No, I'm gonna face him.
All right.
I have an intended use for if this works.
Okay. So, meanwhile, quickly jumping back, Ta and Zuzia, you see a small, maybe 3.5 foot tall figure in ratty robes. I mean, crusted over with what looked like viscera and bile and various forms of awful. Sort of shuffle in, seeming to have a limp in his left foot, sort of looking to each of you. Okay, which one's first? And you can see him slowly pull out a what appears to be an extremely sharp, long knife.
I just go, oh, this is adorable. Her first.
Can I can I use a thingy?
Depends on what the thingy is. You can tell me what you want to do.
Can I use Misty Step and like go somewhere else? Go teleport somewhere away from this dude? Because the door's open now, right?
The door is cracked open. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
teleport out there.
Okay. So deduct your spell slot. I believe that's a second.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So Ta, you see Zuzia just disappear.
Awesome. I'm gonna pull the chain off the wall.
All right. As you do that, you can see this little figure kind of sort of jump back in surprise for a second, look down and realize that your legs are still, you know, the manacles are still on you and the legs are still attached, or to the ring. Although at this point it'll be a lot easier to get out of that.
How long is the chain though? That's like between my arms.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 feet. So you can't
how
really
far is he
get like
from
a
me?
full. He is currently. You guys are in there. I'm just trying to. He's about 10 feet from you, ish.
So would I be able to like basically fall forward and like try and wrap him, like get him hooked with the chain and pull him towards me and grab?
You could try. I mean, that's
Okay.
He's not like he's surprised, but Zuzia taking off and then you sort of like he's still on guard. So I'm gonna give him a chance. Not much of a chance, but a chance. So I need at that point it'll be essentially a grapple check. Considering that you're manacled and falling over, I'm gonna make it athletics at disadvantage. Just because trying to do that, it's gonna be a little bit of a disadvantage.
No. Okay, whatever.
It was a 27 and 11. Let's see how he does. Roll. And this will be. Oh wow! He rolled really high.
Wow.
He's only got a +3 to his dex, or to his acrobatics, but he manages to dodge out of the way. Seeing you, you kind of go face plant in the floor, throwing everything into it.
Yep.
He kind of looks at you, and then runs out the door.
I cast. Wait. Before I go to the door, I want to cast Firebolt on him.
Your action was that.
Damn it.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
I thought that was a second action. I'm like, maybe it was a long laugh.
Yeah. No, he
right,
runs out the door after Zuzia and sort of attempts to find her.
As he goes out, I'll just say, "Your turn."
All right. So so at this point, you Zuzia, you have popped out into the hallway. Looking around, it is not the same hallway that you were in initially from before. You guys have been led down a couple of sort of corners and T-junctions. But you can see a door, as you come out, a door directly to your right, and a hallway that leads down to the left with a further doorway on the far wall.
Okay.
And you see the little guy with the long knife sort of run out, looking for you. What would you like to do?
Where did he just run out from? The room I was in?
From the room you were in, yeah. I mean, you didn't go too far, but...
Can I try to see if the closest door is unlocked or openable?
Okay, you quickly reach out and sort of jimmy the lock really quickly. It is locked currently.
Okay. Well, then I want to continue down the hallway to the next door.
Okay. So you kind of go down the hall a little bit as he sort of runs out into the hall and begins looking for you. He's probably about 30 feet or so behind you, and you get to the next door. This door does not appear to be locked. It's sort of like a set of double doors, actually. It does not appear to be locked currently.
All right. Well, I'm going to go through them.
Okay. So you push open one side and sort of try to slip in. Make me a stealth check doing this. I'm assuming you want to be sneaky.
Probably.
Knowing you. Okay, 21. His perception's not that great. Okay. So he hears something. He does not actually see you, but he does hear the doors open over there and begins sort of not running, but very carefully sort of moving in your direction as you slip into these double doors. You enter into an odd chamber, though. It is roughly circular, sort of rough-hewn again, with sort of stone bricks and things. But there are a set of pillars sort of towards the center of the room, creating a second circle. And in the center, you see what appears to be a pedestal bathed in sort of a purplish light from what appears to be almost a skylight or something above. You can't really tell. It's an inset light source of some kind, and you're not sure what exactly it is. Various what look like well-made silks and tapestries cover the walls and drape down from the ceiling. You can see what also appears to be two small, like, rolling tables. If you've ever seen like at the doctor's office, those sort of little tables that kind of go over the bed or whatever, but they have a little inset, so like a small pan to keep everything on them. And you can see various small objects in there, although from here, you're not entirely sure what they are.
Mm, I want to go closer.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to would I recognize anything? Is what I would like to know. Like once I get closer, if I see stuff from all
Okay,
my
sure.
travels and
Give me a
sneaky stuff.
perception check. Yeah.
As a side note, while
Aw.
she's doing that, can I be working on those leg medicals?
Yeah. Totally.
Thanks.
Give me Tanaka, roll him another athletics for the leg manacles.
Normal or disadvantage? Or advantage?
No, this is just gonna be a straight roll now.
Okay.
Him trying to
27.
grapple somebody while chained to the floor and also at his arms and legs chained while the guy was that was sort of a
Wait, didn't
didn't
Todd just go?
No, that one was a stretch.
Oh yeah. This is him to while Zuzia is exploring the room, he is attempting to pull the so Ta, you rolled a 27, so solid. You managed to sort of with all of your might, using your legs and arms at the same time, sort of squat lifting this thing, managed to pull the ring out. You are still bound, mind you, and you now have a roughly 40-pound weight hanging on the chain between your wrists, and another one on the chain between your ankles. However, you can move at about half speed.
Okay, I can make this work. That's it. You can go back to whoever.
Okay, so Zuzia, as you sort of approach, you can see so the pedestal itself, you don't recognize what it is, but it seems to be sort of curved, almost like a couch or something, like a chair, but without so much definition. There's no like real seat, but it's definitely curved in such a way as to allow for somebody to sit there and sort of have it support their back or something like that. You can tell this because as you get closer, you can see various body fluids on said
Ew.
pedestal. Long dried and mostly blood. You're not sure if some of it might again be bile or something along those lines. You see
gosh.
two trays. In the first, there appear to be several. Well, there's small knives, forks, sort of stuff, various clasping implements. For us out of game, they would look a lot like surgical implements.
Yeah.
In game, you kind of gather that that's what this might be. You learned a little bit of battlefield medicine, how to quickly bind a wound and like what equipment might work for this, that, and the other thing. And some of them look a bit like thieves' tools as well. There's a lot of crossover there.
Out of game, it looks like my bedroom.
Oh God. Is there any other door out of this room?
There is a door on the far side. I will say in the other tray you see small roughly egg-shaped I guess semi-translucent orbs sort of swimming with this purple black energy inside one of them. The other two appear to be cracked and without that same kind of energy. So that's what you see in there. And there is a door on the far side, another set of these double doors. Very, ornate. Everything in here is, although it's rough hewn, it's not like made of it looks like it was made quickly, but it's still done very well. For like there are parts that are sort of unadorned, and those parts look sort of rough, but then the areas that do have any symbols or any markings or anything like that seem to be done very, very well.
Okay. Well, I want to go through those other doors.
Okay. All right, you head to the other doors. Meanwhile, quickly, Nyx and Lucian. What would the two of you like to do, if anything? You are currently locked in a room, and you hear a commotion, although it's very hard to tell what's going on through the these thick stone walls and sort of the muffling of the sounds and all.
Lucian will try and fire a firebolt against the wall.
Okay. As you
Just see what
begin,
happens.
yep, as you begin sort of the incantation and the hand movements, although a little jerky considering your hands are above your head in a very awkward position, suddenly the room, you no longer hear what you're saying as a silent spell apparently goes off. And as the spell sort of fades, you can then hear what you're saying again.
Okay.
Nyx wants to cast Mage Hand.
Okay. Is that a verbal component?
Believe so, yeah.
All right. So the same thing basically happens as you start speaking the verbal component. The room fills with a sort of a silent sphere, and the spell fades from you. Oh, it's only somatic. Okay, it works. You have a mage hand.
Excellent. Can I get the Mage Hand to grab one of Nyx's earrings and put it in her hand?
Yeah, I'll say you could probably manage that.
Perfect. Okay, she wants to try to use the earring as a pick.
Okay. Make me a spellcasting ability check. No, just make me a spellcasting ability check. This will be your attempt to use your mage hand to pick a lock.
So I just roll straight charisma then.
Straight charisma. All right.
Damn.
Yeah, not bad. As you sort of mess around in the lock, you're using kind of you've never really done this before, and you're using an implement that's not great at this, but you kind of futz around with it, and then you hear a click, and you're like, yes, yes, and then you realize that the stud of the earring has broken off inside the lock.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that was not successful.
Cool. Kind of try to like pull it out, what's left, and like try to break it out.
Yeah, you can try to do that. I will say, for the purposes of this, you spend the next about minute and a half kind of like trying to use your mage hand in your own hand to kind of like shake it out of the keyhole to the lock. It takes a little while, and it does eventually sort of fall out, but you get the idea that you may have done some form of slight damage to the interior of the lock as well. You're not sure.
Okay. I want the mage hand to hand it over to Lucian.
Okay. Hand over what? The earring? Or
yeah.
Okay. You now have an earring without a stud in it.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Fuck if I know. I fucked mine up.
All right.
Got any ideas? I got a mage hand out. Do you need anything grabbed or whatever?
No comment.
The mage hand slowly moves down to his chest.
Are you gonna try to give him a nipple piercing?
Okay.
The ultimate reach around. Okay.
I got one more idea here.
Ultimate Dutch rudder, rather.
Try moving that orb.
Don't Google that, kids.
Okay, so Nyx wants the mage hand to pull out the elephant statue out of her bag and put it on the floor.
Okay.
and then she'll summon the elephant.
Okay.
Hmm.
What is the requirement? I believe there's a command word for the elephant.
Yeah, it didn't get written down, and it got lost somewhere in between sending it back and forth between people.
All right. Well, we'll just say it's Gilafante because that's fun to say.
Gilafante. Okay.
I don't know. All right.
Well, I named it Ellie, so let's go, Ellie, go.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's not a direct verbal component of a spell. So, suddenly there's an elephant in your room, and we'll cut back to Zuzia real quick. Zuzia.
Yes.
And don't worry, Gad, we're gonna get to you here in a second. Zuzia, you go through the next set of double doors. You enter into what appears to be sort of an antechamber. It's almost like a small waiting room, I guess. There are a couple of benches and what looks like a pool. It appears to be a pool of water, as far as you can tell. That same sort of purplish light gleaming on the surface of that water. There is a small door to your right, and then a larger door sort of in the center, directly opposite. You can see again those same silks and tapestries sort of lining the room. As you're looking in here, the other room did have some sort of glyphs and symbols, none of which you actually recognized at all. But in this room, you do recognize various elements of Undercommon, which I believe you speak.
Okay, can I read it then?
Yeah, it'll take a few seconds to kind of get actually like read it, and there isn't a lot of it in here, but it appears. What languages do you speak? Actually, that's a really good fucking question. I should have asked. Because that
Common,
might-
Abyssal, and
Oh, you read Abyssal. Okay.
Draconic, I
So
think is the other one. I can't.
So
Yeah.
most of this room has Abyssal script, and the previous. The previous room most of that Abyssal seemed to be used in an arcane way that you weren't entirely sure how to read. However, in this room, you can see a few different things. So first off, you see what appears to be sort of flowery writing, I guess you could say, of speaking about the history and sort of the family lineage. Where did I put this? There we go. Sorry. This is a fucking hard name to say, okay? So whatever. Of what is called House Tarantumba. Yes, it's a fucking insane name.
I just imagine your face making a weird like motion while you said that word.
Yup. Someday I'll get a webcam and you can watch the weird contortions on my face that happen.
People get to do that with me now.
Yes, I know. So you can see that from it speaks of the matron mother Mola, sorry. The children. There are. You can see that like this sort of area. This seems to be a tapestry, and two of the. It's sort of a family tree. Two of the names have been crossed out, sort of blackened out, almost scorched out. Except underneath one of them, what appears to be a sister of this matron mother, is written back in as Oria, or sorry, Orira. Fuck you, Thunder. Gave me a list of names to fuck around with at some point, and I just decided to pick them. So that was stupid. But yeah, so you see the name Arira there rewritten in sort of almost haphazardly in Undercommon. You can see what appear to be various invocations and prayers to a certain religious figure. If you want to make me a religion check, you can see if you can figure this out, as the runes themselves almost seem to shift and change with this figure. That's enough considering you're from the Underdark. This figure appears to be known as Lolth, the Spider Queen. And you get an idea that might have something to do with the various bits of spider iconography within the room as well. However, as you're sort of looking over this and seeing these various allusions to Lolth, who you know to be a sort of chaotic evil deity, very similar to the ones that your species or of the city that you're from worship. However, apart from that one, you begin to hear the door to the previous room, or the door that you just came through. You can hear footsteps of a sort of like a step shuffle of the small man who had been chasing you with the knife.
And
Ty,
he's in the room I just came out of?
Yeah, the room that you just came out of before you came into this one.
Okay.
You have two doors in front of you, one
Right.
sort of larger and one smaller off to the right-hand side.
Okay. Should I pick now, or did you want to go to somebody else first?
You can pick now if you want, and we'll just say that's where you're in the process.
Okay, I'm going to the big door.
Okay, going through the big door. Okay. So Ty, you are free of your, well, not really free of your manacles, but you're at least free of the posts that kept you in the wall.
Okay. I would like to look outside the room, like look up and down the hallway, and do I see the little?
You can see that he has left the door at the far end of the hall, about 30 feet from you, open, and you can just see him shuffling in towards a set of, barely lit from your perspective, doors on the far end of what appears to be some kind of circular room.
Okay. I don't remember if it's first or second level. I think it's first level. I want to try to cast Expeditious Retreat on myself, which is a bonus.
Does he have any first
level? Yeah.
It is first level, and he has 3 slots.
Okay.
Okay, I will use that as a bonus action to get my full movement, and then I want to shuffle on over to the because I don't have my shield because I assume they just left it. Shuffle over to the door.
Okay.
And do I see the guy then?
Yeah, I mean you can see him. I'm not going to even bother having you make a stealth check. This is a loud process. I will point that out.
No, that's fine. And he's
just clank, 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 clank.
Yeah.
As your armor and the chains and the thing, the weights attached to the chains and all the stuff. Yeah, it's not a quiet thing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come around the corner. I'm going to go, I don't believe our business was concluded. And then I'm going to use Fade Pull in for $1. So I'm going to try and pull him toward.
Okay. So that's an athletics check for him versus his acrobatics. So.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
But I got the nat 20.
Yes.
Yeah, you got the nat 20.
Yeah!
So, and he rolled a 12. So
nice.
He sort of looks back at you, kind of surprised for a second. And so, Ty, you feel two hands sort of, one go over your left shoulder and one kind of come up from under your right arm and sort of hold on to your chest for a second. And then and you just sort of hear almost like a smile I mean, I know it's it's weird to say hear a smile, but you can almost hear the demoness smile behind you as she pulls her right arm back, pushes it through yours, and you can see sort of this shadowy figure of both of your hands together, reaching out, grabbing onto this tiny little guy, and pulling him back about 30, 35 feet directly into your hand, and that's where he stays.
Okay,
Very
I
much
would like
attached to
to.
you.
I don't know if I can still do this during this turn. I would like to try and just choke him out with the chain.
You can begin to do that, I'll say.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay,
For the
I will do
purposes
that.
of this, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna take more than one round to choke somebody out, but yeah,
Yeah,
you
no,
kind of
that's
wrap
fine.
the
It's
chain quickly around his throat and begin to kind of pull.
yeah, it's like a mini Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, gotcha. Sort of like Jabba the Hutt in reverse, weirdly.
Yeah, it really. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, Gad. Now we're gonna get to some interesting things. So, you load the wood into sort of your central compartment, and as it touches this gemstone sort of inset into your chest, it instantly ignites, and you can start to feel a power building within you.
Also, I apologize. It wasn't 5 pounds of wood. It was 5 units of wood. So I don't know how much exactly that is.
That's fine. Whatever. We'll call it 5 pounds of wood. It's easier that way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look towards fucking Chorgus here, and you wanted to know what I've got, and I'm gonna try to push the flames straight through the door into him.
Okay. So for the moment, you're not really on fire at the moment, but there are sort of like as it touches it, it almost incinerates the wood quickly, right? It's almost like a sublimation of the wood. It's so fast, and you can feel your body begin to heat up almost, and to the point where you begin glowing as if you were in a forge currently, right? Sort of red hot, not quite white hot, but very, very warm. And as the acidic compound uh, begins to lick up to your heels, before it actually touches you, it vaporizes, not actually currently affecting you, as essentially it looks like your entire body is under the effects of the heat metal spell. There's no direct flames currently, but you do get the feeling that this gem, this soul of ember, you start to feel like a hunger for more to eat, to consume, to burn. And Chorgus sort of raises his chin. You get the idea that he's gone from just looking forward to watching you literally melt in front of him to interested in what's going on. Not alarmed currently, but went from I'm looking forward to seeing you die to oh, what's going on here?
I'm just gonna intone in my head while this is happening, as I'm feeling the hunger.
Mm-hmm.
You have some more fuel on the other side of this door. Please help me get past it.
Okay. Make me a weird ass persuasion check. We're gonna see, because this thing is.
Come on, show me
sentient,
potato.
but it's kind of sentient, so we'll see.
Show me French fries. Yeah, waffle cut.
Okay, so at this point, you feel the heat itself, right? That is sort of at the surface level of your armor and your, I guess we could call it skin, right? The sort of metal plating on your skin. It is mostly there. Begin to concentrate more towards your core, to your shoulders and chest, arms and legs, sort of and you start to feel like as you sort of move, it's jerky almost, but it's just way like a lot of just heat energy turning into physical energy as you move.
I realize this is like my action, but can I see into the door that's across from me, behind Jorgus?
I mean, it is now closed. The door itself. You did see everybody leave that door, but the door over there is closed, and no, you cannot currently see through that door.
So I know everybody was let out of that room.
Yeah, you saw everybody leave.
Okay, cool.
As far as you could tell, yeah.
Yeah, if you'll allow me to, I guess. I'll just shove both my hands into the door, like I'm trying to grapple it off straight off its hinges.
Okay, make me an athletics check with advantage.
Oh, this is not gonna be good.
Hey guys, let's all make weird pacts with strange items and creatures.
Have you guys figured out the theme for this campaign yet?
Group of assholes wants to kill us for no reason.
I don't know. I mean, it's so vague. It's I mean, you do have the story, the campaign title on Roll20 as Dark Dealings, but I don't know. It's kind of escaping me at the moment. I can't quite place it.
Something about a guy named Faust. I don't know. I've never heard of that, but I don't know. The name comes to mind anyway.
I like my assholes theory better.
There's that too. That's what you guys bring to it.
I don't know, man. The dealer's kind of a dick.
Yeah, I know. But he's kind of meant to be a dick. Like, yeah. I think I had some nice characters in there too so far. I mean, Sari is nice.
Most of them are dead, but yeah, there have been some nice ones.
Yeah.
Oh, what could have been between Carillion and Saria?
So as you slam your...
Sid.
Oh, yeah. Sid's not doing so hot.
He's not straight up dead, at least.
Yeah, he's unconscious as far as you know. But yeah, you slam your arms into the door and sort of try to wrap your hands around it, sort of try to pull it away. As you do manage to dig in to the sides of the door. However, it is not, and begin to pull, and you can kind of feel it tug, but it is not ripped from its hinges as of the moment.
Okay.
For now. That being said, at this point, we're going to make one more quick jump here to Zuzia. So you go through the large doors. Actually, as you're headed to the large doors and kind of, begin to open them slightly, you see Ta sort of
surprise
through as this little figure sort of opens up the door, right, and sees you. You see Ta come clanging through the other door, and then reach his hand out, and this ghostly grasp comes out. You can see what appear to be both a male and a female hand, one inside the other, sort of reach out, grab onto this tiny little man, and then haul him back 30 to 35 feet into Ta's hand, and he wraps a chain around this thing's neck.
Get over here.
Basically, yeah, that's basically exactly what happened.
Okay. Well, I still want to know what's through these doors.
Oh my God. Don't ever change.
Sounds good. Don't stab him while I'm holding him or anything. Whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. You guys can update Thunder really quickly. I do need to take just 3 minutes, and then that's actually ridiculously perfect timing. So
okay.
Give me 3 minutes. You guys can update Thunder on what's happened.
2 words: Prison Break.
Neat. Also, this is becoming a... Oh, okay. Well, also, this is becoming a really weird time for my schedule. I apologize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just wanted to ruin my birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Oh, Tanaka, I got you a gnome for your birthday.
Just what I've always wanted.
Something about your sister.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. More or less.
Brother, mom, or
Super heated. Nyx and Lucian got dragged into another cell, and Nyx tried to
there's
pick
an
the lock.
elephant in the room.
Yeah, and there's literally an elephant in their room now.
Mm-hmm.
What she plans on doing with that, I have no idea.
Ta and Zuzia got put in a room by themselves. Zuzia Misty stepped out, and then Ta literally just ripped his chains off of the wall mount, and they're now trying to kill the guy who was gonna be like performing torture on him or whatever.
I mean, I'm working on it.
Yeah, you've got you're starting to wrap a chain around his neck.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Zuzi is over here trying to start, going over reading Rainbow.
Not helping Ta at all.
Wait,
Because
what?
she's
Me?
Yeah, instead of like trying to stab the guy you're choking out, she's trying to open a door.
Yeah.
Ran off.
Yeah, that could have been better, but hey, whatever. We've never really worked great as a team before, anyway.
I mean, the last time you guys tried, she stabbed you in the back.
And then I killed her, or almost killed her. I don't remember. I think I knocked her out.
God, I know what I'm going to do when I hit level 12. I need to take an ASI.
An albino squirrel investigation?
Yes, exactly that. Have you ever seen a white squirrel?
Not
Seen
in person.
pictures.
I'll be on the photo of Nat Geo for like... I'll be on the cover of Nat Geo for like a week.
All right, I got water. I need it.
All right. Yep.
Not entirely. So, Dice.
Yes.
Your view of this is slightly different to everyone else's. All of this has happened, however, you're not obviously super aware of it at the moment. However, what you see, as opposed to everybody else, is a well, you see those you saw those three figures, Chorgus, the one you recognize all too well, and a female figure familiar to you. However, the skin tone has changed, but a familiar face of Matron Mother Dolamola Tarantumba, and I hate you for that name. I hate you so much for that name.
It's authentic.
Yes, you can see she's wearing a black dress with elements made to look like spider legs wrapping around her stomach, chest, and shoulders. You are put into manacles like the rest of everyone else, but led away in a slightly different direction initially, and it wraps around to what seems to be a audience chamber, very similar to the one in your home. However, different, definitely more newly constructed and more rough hewn. However, she begins to speak to you. Hello, Dice. It's been some time.
Quite. Frankly, I would prefer to give it more time, but, well, here we are.
So it seems. Now, now that you're here, are you going to be useful to me? Or are you going to be, well, you?
That entirely depends on your application, my dear.
Well, I don't personally remember you, but she does. You get the idea that the body you're talking to is speaking about itself both times.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks to you and says, well, you see, I could use you to get to him, to Rokan. You know him as the dealer. I'd very much like to do that.
Ma'am, mother, mama, either one. I'm sure you're aware that if that is your goal, then we have similar, in fact, intentions. However, this is a poor introduction, I must say, as a showman and a gentleman. You could do better.
Perhaps. But, as they say, surprise is a great addition to any particular show. So, let's make a deal. You will help me apprehend the dealer for my own purposes, and I'll let you go your own way. Afterwards, I honestly have no use for you beyond that. However, if you decide not to participate in this particular deal, and you can see a third figure, and this is the same third figure from before. It is a somewhat slender but hunched over figure in a black cloak, hands clasped in front, so as not to really give away anything underneath, behind the robe itself. And she lets out one. She brings out one finger sort of underneath the chin of this figure and lifts it up, and you can see what is still a very slender figure sort of begins to stand up a little bit taller. You can see what is a protruding stomach on this person as the cloak falls back. You do see a second familiar face. You would recognize it as Arira. With but things have sort of changed. She looks a little bit. I mean, as per Drow, I mean, a little bit paler, like she hasn't seen the sun, so to speak, in some time. You can see that her eyes, once sort of a purpley blue, are now clouded over white, and what you initially think are crow's feet from long days and months and years on the sea, you see are now two small scars, one on either side of the eye. And with that, it's pretty easy to tell she's very likely blind. She looks to you and says, so, if you choose not to participate, then I'll let the Dracolich eat her alive.
I'm going to give you a freebie for this one. Not only do I have no reason not to accept your deal, but now I have animosity towards you, and I know that you're keeping her. Just tonight, just something I thought that I should let you know. It's less than ideal for you, but if this is what you mean by keeping me off balance, then I suppose you did your job. Anyways, yes, I hate the dealer as much as you do, if not more, simply because he's no fun. And I would rather you not do that to my, the only family member who ever cared about me. So, perhaps we do have a deal indeed, although I believe after this I could certainly help you with your more practical, some more practical advices in the art of diplomacy. Anyways.
This isn't diplomacy. That's your first mistake. This is simply a deal. And I need...
That falls under diplomacy.
Well, I needed an insurance policy. We appear to be on the same page. As she says that, you hear the door sort of creak open a little bit, and sort of the semi-snake-like features of Zuzia sort of pop in to view. for just a second.
From who?
You from behind you. You
Okay.
do that. You see this, yeah.
You hear faint choking noises in the distance.
It's so perfect while you're on the phone.
Yep.
Right? Oh god. So do I see him yet?
Yeah, you see Dice. You see the same woman as before, and a large or a another figure who appears to be, now you can see, appears to be a woman. Sort of the same dark skin as Dice, although a little bit lighter hue. And from here, you can see that she has a very enlarged sort of stomach area. If you had to guess, potentially pregnant.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hi, Dice.
Dice kind of,
Uh,
as he's been doing this, he's kind of had this sort of performer's bow. Like he's chained down. I would imagine you said, right?
Well, just chained. You're not
okay.
actually chained down, but you do have the manacles on. Like they're
Oh,
not letting you run around willy-nilly.
So his hands are bound in front of him, but he's sort of like, he's got his hands as open as they can be. He's sort of bowed with his one knee in front of the other, just kind of in a performance. But as he looks back to you and says, "Ah, hello, Zuzia," you can see that there is like a legitimate anger in his eyes that you haven't seen in a while. Or I don't think you've ever seen him like legitimately angry at something, but it is very clearly directed towards the center woman. Like he calms down a bit as he looks towards you, and he's, yes. Do you happen to know where we are?
Do I know where we are? I kind of came in a little late today.
You appear to be in a
Yeah, me too.
dungeon or something.
Also,
And yeah.
The way to totally blow your cover that we hadn't escaped yet, and now the lady knows.
She sort of looks at all of you and says, "Very resourceful. You'll do well in the arena."
Meanwhile, in the background,
Yeah.
Wait. Nobody's anything about an arena. I would have stayed in the room if we were talking about an arena.
Okay, I guess I'll. Do you need some help, Dice? You want to go somewhere else?
He kind of stands up, just kind of offers his bound wrists towards you and says, "There's nothing you can do about this. That would be brilliant, however."
And
now,
the matron mother sort of looks at you and says, "I'd really rather you didn't. Meanwhile, I do notice you are very resourceful. You managed to slip out of those manacles. Let's fix that." And she sort of just flicks her finger forward, and two more manacles come flinging out an attempt to attach themselves to you. If you want to make me a dexterity saving throw,
or you could just shut the door before they get to you.
Right?
You could try.
Yeah, because I just like peeked in, so I would definitely be in the motion of wanting to shut the doors and run back towards Ta.
Okay, dex check.
Okay.
In that case.
Do you believe?
All right. You kind of slam the door shut. Turn around and head back. As you do, you can hear this very faint but sort of high-pitched, almost dog whistle sound, in sort of echoing down the hallways, as you can hear heavy footfalls moving through the hallways in your general direction.
What was in there? What's talking to Zuzia?
Dice and a pregnant lady that apparently he probably knows by the look on his face.
Okay, why did you run away?
I'm not chained up like everyone is supposed to be. So yeah, I think we're in maybe not trouble, but let's do something about this guy you're holding.
I feel like you're leaving out details. Who else was in the room?
What? There was there other people in that
There
room
were
too?
3
I
people
think
in the
there
room.
was.
There was Dice. There was the pregnant lady, who appeared to be blind as far as you could tell. And then there was also that same blue-skinned woman from before who was speaking to you as you guys got hauled off.
The evil lady that kidnapped us. Also, Ta wouldn't have known that, so that's why I'm actually asking in character.
Yep.
I forgot about that lady being in that room.
Yeah, I noticed.
Sorry. I'm thinking about going to the store in real life. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. That's great. We're all gonna die now. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yep.
We had
Don't
the
think about
element of
food.
surprise, and then our rogue ruined it.
Yeah.
In a
Shouldn't have thought
sick
about
and
food.
twisted series of events. Ryben, why would you let this happen?
All right. Ta, you can see emerging from a couple of the hallways. Since you're sort of like half in the door and you can kind of see into the hallways, you can see 2 of those bone devils sort of plodding towards you guys, moving deliberately but not super quickly. More in a seems more like a trying to cut you off sort of thing or corner you.
Okay.
You can also see at this point, in the fighting, it was a little bit harder to see, but you can see symbols of similar to the Sulcree symbol that you're very familiar with, emblazoned on the chest, almost like branded. And then there appears to be a second symbol sort of over, and that's sort of, or sorry, the Sulcree symbol is sort of in the center of the chest. There's a second symbol, or what appears to be appeared to be a symbol, on each of them on their right chest, sort of higher up, closer to where the collarbone would be. But it has almost been scorched off to the point where you cannot see what it used to be. At least not at the moment, but they both, the 2 of them, sort of come in at you at this T junction. Right, you're at the door, and then there's a hallway directly behind you, and then a hallway, and then the hallway extends to the left and right of you, and they are coming in from that direction, from either side.
Okay, so they're coming from both sides.
Yes.
Okay, crap. That makes things a little bit different. Well, I'll just say to Zuzia, well, we have company now. And is the dude dead or unconscious yet?
Oh yeah, no, he's fucked. He's fucked enough to not worry about him anymore.
You can snap his neck just to make sure.
All right, so they're coming in like this, and you are kind of here. Zuzi is here, and then this area is where you came from. Hold on, just ping right there. It's not a great color, I recognize. Here we go.
Wow.
It's not much better, but at least it shows up a little bit nicer on there. So this area here is where you came from. And then, yeah.
How far are they from me right now?
20 to 30 feet.
I would like to throw the gnome at one of them.
Okay.
Right now.
You know what? Just make me a straight strength check. It's basically just an unarmed attack. All right, yeah. You managed to bop one in the head with him. Roll me. It'll be 1d4 plus whatever his strength mod is.
Okay.
Not proficient.
Would that count as an attack, an action, or a bonus action?
Just count that. I mean, you can count it as an attack.
Okay. Damn. I was gonna see if I could do gust of wind, but that's a full action. That'd only be in one direction anyway. Okay. I'm just gonna just hold out my wrist to Zuzia. Anything you can do about these real quick with like fucking 5 seconds to spare?
What could I do?
You have a few options. There's anything you can think of creatively, or you do have a set of thieves' tools on you.
Yeah.
You can attempt to pick the locks if you want.
Yeah, I can't think of anything creatively.
Just having my arms free would be a huge help.
Yeah, can I try picking the lock then?
Sure.
Should I click that?
Yep,
Or
thieves'
not yet?
tools.
Should be Dex.
Dex plus proficiency. She is proficient in thieves' tools. Actually, she's got expertise in thieves' tools, so
Nice.
if I remember right.
Not bad. Not bad.
Let's see. All right. You managed to pretty quickly, despite the sort of magical properties of these manacles, quickly sort of dive in with as Ta sort of holds out his hands like, please, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go. Managed to pop one off and then the other in quick succession. No real issues.
Awesome.
With a fucking 30.
Is it a double wide door or is it just 5?
It's a double wide door.
Fuck. Okay. Well, I'm going to use my bonus action to summon my shield to me, and then just try and impose myself in the door.
As you do that, your shield does not come to you.
What? The shield is with me in this plane though, because I had it on me when unless you mean like it's in the room.
You did have it on you before you were taken off. Taken somewhere. At the moment, it does not come to you.
Yeah, just to the second room. Okay, fine.
Sorry. You guys were stripped of your weapons, so...
Yeah, but it works on any plane that I'm on. All right, whatever.
If you are on the same plane as it, you are correct.
Yeah.
It would work.
Yeah. Okay, wait, but I am on the same plane as it. Like
sure about that?
I had the shield with me when he teleported us or whatever, but then I assumed that they would have taken the weapon when they moved us to the.
Yep.
So they went to a different plane.
You're not sure?
Goddamn. Well, I mean, like, whatever. Right,
You sold the bag of holding on you, right?
My spear wouldn't work either. So then I'm going to. Is there? What'd you say? 15 feet away, something like that.
About 20, 25. I mean, for the purposes of this, they haven't had their turn yet.
Okay. Fuck. What do I? Well, no, I'm not gonna pull that out. I'm just gonna ready the dodge action. I think I can do.
Sure.
Just because they're closing in, so I don't have anything else to do. So I'll just sort of try and impose myself in the doorway and use that as a.
Okay.
And then if she wants to work on legs, that's up to her. But like that would.
Yeah, you managed to free his arms. That's sort of your action there. Is there anything you want to do? Do you want to move anywhere? Do you want to because you're kind of up with him at the moment. You can basically duck back into the room, come out and try to fight, whatever you want to do.
I want to stay ducked in the room behind him.
Okay.
But by the way, what weapons were they wielding? Sorry.
They each have a pole arm of some sort.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Meanwhile, we'll just do a quick cut here. Gad, make me an athletics check with advantage, really quickly. Okay. You manage to start to pull the door down. It sort of falls into the acid next to you, as you are now free to see Chorgus directly in front of you. You can see he is somewhat surprised that you have managed to break out of the doorway.
I just pulled a Ta.
Yeah, you just pulled a Ta. 20 was what you needed.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Do I get the feeling I can direct the energy in the orb at all, or no?
Potentially, you can actually kind of start to feel it burn out a little bit, like it's starting to simmer down now that because you after exerting all this strength, it is beginning to simmer down a little bit.
Do I still have an action or anything?
I mean, I'll say you could do one quick thing if you'd like.
Can I punch him in the face?
You can try. Give you one shot at it, sure.
Nope.
As you do that, he faster than you would expect, sort of sidesteps off to the left, and your swing goes wide, and you just start to hear, interesting. And then we're going to quickly smash cut to the other room, where Nyx and Lucian are still chained to the fucking wall. What would you guys like to do? I believe you were reaching down to try to pick up the sphere with the mage hand?
No, the elephant.
Oh, right, yeah, there's a giant elephant in your room. What was it you wanted to do with that, Nick?
Wow, Ryben, way to forget about the elephant in the room.
Sorry. Yeah,
Wow.
God damn it!
Billy would be so proud.
Ah, I know.
I'm just gonna say it. We were first. We would.
Next, what did
guess-
you want to do with your giant fucking elephant?
Tell the elephant to break the ball and then free us.
Okay. The elephant is heavy enough. Yeah, manages to kind of smash the ball, and then which one of you do you want him to try attempt to free first?
It's gonna
Lucian.
rip your arms out of your sockets.
Okay.
It's just gonna charge into the wall, actually.
Oh, that's much scarier.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's gonna. Okay.
You said free him, like that's the only way you can think of to do it. What's an elephant's strength mod?
45.
I think you're right. I got it here somewhere. Here we go, elephant. So I'm just gonna have him run a strength check. Let's see how it does. 21.
Wow.
All right, he smashes into the wall right next to you, Tanaka. And manages to mostly, like, you're gonna have to jemmy it a little bit, like, tug on it or whatever. But you can free your arms and legs now from the wall and ground, as most of the stone around it has been
Disappeared.
damaged enough to where it has loosened up.
Okay.
However, at this, if there's anything you'd like to do, quickly.
Pull myself free.
Okay, you pull yourself free and do whatever it is you want. No, at that point, it's just going to take an action to do. It's not really a check thing.
Then I go over to Nyx and
await the elephant. Okay, fair enough. Dice, what would you like to do, if anything?
All right, so let's see. As I'm talking to Dolmola, I would like to just kind of do some verbal sparring, start get a conversation going, start distracting her, and we've been talking for about a minute, right?
More or less.
I'm gonna try that. Need a wisdom save.
Wisdom save for her. Okay. All right. Well, there's a chance.
Not a big one, but still, might as well try. And she does not know that I tried this, which is the important part.
Right. Okay. And it's a DC 17, you said?
Yep.
She rolled a natural 17.
All right.
Sorry. But yeah, she doesn't seem to notice that you did that, but she is sort of speaking to you, and she almost seems aloof, like she's only half paying attention.
Yeah. I think Dice will stand up at this point, just get a bit more formal, and say, you got a rather hard head, don't you? That's not to be an insult, that's simply an observation. However, I do notice that you don't seem to be entirely yourself, and I mean that in more ways than one, if you don't mind me pointing it out. Is she just an illusion, I would imagine? I say, sort of gesturing over to Orira.
Oh, gesturing to Orira as the
Yes.
illusion?
Yes.
Oh, no, she's quite real. However, you're correct. I am both completely myself and not. The group you travel with now killed me, or killed my last body. I needed a new one. Your mother provided a decent enough host.
Well,
She's
I must
still
say,
here,
well,
and very disapproving of you, of course.
what else is new?
Right. Well, from what I learned, you can be very resourceful and have a sharp tongue. So, as I said, I felt I needed to come prepared. However, personally, it's not exactly how I like to do business.
Oh, I'm well aware. You appear to be more of the take what you want and don't ask questions until it bites you in the ass, which it inevitably will sort of person.
No, that's him.
Oh, and you're different then.
We are all a bit different, yes.
Thank you for being very helpful with your explanation. Now, if you could please elaborate a bit more.
Well, he is. How do we say this?
However you want, my friend.
Yes. He has his own set of rules, ones that no one else really plays by, but a certain, shall we say, code. It's an annoying one, and I still don't quite understand it, but he does have one somewhere.
If you want me to take him down, give me a picture of his rule book, I'm sure I could find a few loopholes in there.
Well, that's half the fun. He doesn't really show that rule book to anyone. Not very often. It's odd. Once in a while you'll say something and he'll go along with it for whatever reason.
Well, if
Not
this is
that
your
it gives
true
me a
adversary,
bad
hope you've been taking notes at first.
Of course I have. Each other a very long time.
Not a confidence, but
What do you know of us?
very little. I know that you have taken the appearance of my mother, and I know that you have apparently taken my aunt hostage and ridden her of her personality, which, frankly, that seems like something my mother would do. That might not be your fault, but still.
What do you know of the Sulcry?
Sulcry. Doesn't ring too much of a bell. I've heard the name before, but I haven't been traveling with these people for that much. You could perhaps enlighten me?
Well, as your friends discovered, we are shards, pieces of a whole. However, let's just say only we must all come together at some point. This is our nature.
I see.
But-
So they didn't kill my mother. You're simply a part of her.
Yes, I am.
Is there any part of her that happens to have any affection for me, or is the only part there trying to kill me incessantly?
Why don't you ask her yourself?
Ooh,
You
well, the
can
other
kinda
one's
see
here.
you can see the facial expression change for a second. The skin actually becomes slightly darker, a little bit more in line with what you know to be typical drow complexion. The scar on the chest becomes actually more pronounced, like it's fresher, like it's newer. And you see the matron's face sort of blink for a second and then look down at you. You insolent fool.
You know, you really could have, for your opening line, I expected better.
Yes, well, still. Why did you come back?
I didn't. You dragged me here.
I did nothing of the sort.
Well, your partner did, I suppose, so blame her, if anything else.
I see.
That or that bugger over there, I say as I point to the fucking dragon.
Chorgus isn't in there.
Oh, I thought he was. Okay.
No. He and Gad are having a little talk.
A little spat, yes.
Neat. But yeah. Well, either way, I point behind me and say, that or that giant dragon back there. Blame either one.
Yes, that. I don't know who that is. I've seen him before, but yeah.
Where do we happen to be, by the way, Mother?
Appears to be a demiplane directly below Luthadel, right below my home. I was going to use it as a prison, sort of bathhouse combination thing, but, well.
That appears to have backfired.
Quite the contrary. I now own all of Luthadel.
So you're saying you could rip a hole in here and then get us out of here with a snap of your fingers, yes?
Perhaps. Of course, you could just attempt to find the door, but as far as I know, you've already made a deal.
Yes, I found the door, as you can tell, but I'm afraid that it's a much more, we'll say, enjoyable prospect to continue conversation. It's been a while, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say the words?
Yes, ever since you ran off.
Being fair, you did try to kill me. I think I'm entirely justified in that.
Being fair, that's normal, and you know that.
Being fair, fuck normal.
Idealistic as always. Well, your little brother is, oh, you haven't met him yet, have you?
Suppose I haven't. It's been what? 100 or so years? 190, I think? 90, yes.
90 years, yes. Something like that.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are we almost finished for the night?
Yep.
Okay.
We're gonna end here in just a minute, yeah.
Okay.
At that point, actually, speaking of which, Gad, you and Chorgus kind of go into a little bit of a brawl. Chorgus is standoffish for the most part.
He's basically playing with me.
You get the idea that instead of fighting you all out, right? He is studying you more like what a sparring partner might do, or like a master to an apprentice. He's letting you throw punches. He's trying to figure out how you work. Now, you have intrigued him enough.
Wait, would I get the feeling that he's undead?
Make me an insight check, I suppose.
Wow, that couldn't have been more of a fuck you.
It wasn't a high DC, man.
I know. I struggle so hard.
I will say, for the purposes of this, you get the idea that he is definitely not like your typical like giant or human or whatever. He's definitely something. Undead, maybe. Could be elemental. Could be a dragon. Who knows? I mean, you've seen him turn into a dragon at one point. You're not entirely sure, but he's definitely not your typical person. Meanwhile, we'll do a quick cut over to Zuzi and Ta. You are being pursued by two bone demons, or bone devils, rather.
Okay.
Anything you want to do?
Okay, sorry, I was plugging stuff into my computer.
No worries.
002. Well, did you try and do the leg chains?
Yes, you can. Yeah, be another thieves' tools.
Okay, I can do that.
That would
Okay.
Sorry, I like super need food, so I like.
No worries. We're almost. We're going a little longer.
Oh yeah,
thieves' tools.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh, okay. So as you sort of dig in, you start messing around with the first lock, and the end of the little hooked implement you use to sort of hold down the individual pins inside of the locking mechanism breaks off and jams inside the lock.
Yeah, fuck.
Sorry, DC 15 does not.
All right.
So.
Are they still? What was it? 30 feet?
I mean,
they're right next.
Now they have a 30-foot. They've got a movement speed that allows them to kind of come up close to you, and you can see again. They're not really attacking; they're defensive, but they're more trying to pen you in right now.
Okay. Then if that's the case, I will. Which way was the way we hadn't gone yet? Or sorry, is there a way we?
The ways that they're coming from are ways that you had not gone.
Oh, both. Okay. Cool.
And then this way here's, then there's the way directly behind you. That is the way you came from, and then the door that you guys went into, or that Zuzia went into.
Question.
So, yep.
Are they literally like just 60 to 80 feet down the hall from me?
No, they are around a corner somewhere. They left you. They're not in your eye line.
Okay, cool.
You can hear, however, coming back the way you came, a commotion in one of the hallways. Actually, you can hear two commotions. You hear a loud crashing noise coming from very near to your room, the room that you two were chained up in. And further down the hall, you can hear what sounds like metal on metal periodic, quick strikes further down the hall.
And is anything blocking our path back to where the crash came from?
Not currently. Not towards where you initially came from, no.
Okay, then I'm going to, I guess. Well, your legs are free. I'm just gonna let's just say let's go get the rest and head towards whatever that crash was, because that is probably one of our group.
All right.
And I'm gonna just fucking because I'm gonna try and summon my spear just in case that happens to work for some reason.
Okay. Currently, it does not work, unfortunately.
Okay. I will not pull anything out of the bag yet, but I have idea. Bad idea.
Okay. All right then. And then Nyx and Lucian, I assume you want the elephant to ram into the other wall, which it does, breaking Nyx free. And Lucian, you can kind of help Nyx pull. Nyx will need a little bit of help, just sort of pulling herself out of the wall. You two are still chained and all, but you can kind of move.
I would want the elephant to charge the door too.
Okay, it will turn and sort of face the door, ready to charge through. Anything else you guys want to do?
I would like to use the whip.
You don't have the whip, I don't think, do you?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. We'll get to you in a second.
Yep.
But yeah, Lucian and Nyx. Anything else you guys would like to do while you're in the room?
I don't know, Lucian, you got anything?
Helps if I'm not muted.
Yeah, it does.
Lucian will hold a spell.
Okay.
Firebolt.
All right. So as the elephant sort of backs up and begins to charge towards the door, Ta and Zuzia, as you guys sort of head down the hallway back towards where you initially came from, you see a giant elephant come bursting through the goddamn door. Enjoy that.
Great.
Meanwhile, Gad, you're pulling out the whip.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
be that way.
So, no worries. We'll pick this up next week. But Dice, the last thing you kind of hear from, you can hear some commotion going on, and we'll get to the whip next week because that's gonna be weird, and y'all have a lot of weird magic items. So
Not really.
Well, I mean, I've always thought since I tuned to it, or I've been holding it accidentally, it's just like, this is gonna be useful for something.
Dice, Your
Yes.
conversation continues with this woman, and you can see the face sort of change, the skin become a slightly lighter shade, and the scars sort of heal up a bit as what appears to be your mother's personality anyway in her own body sort of fades back into the recesses for the moment. And the other woman sort of looks to you and says, "It appears your friends are very, very resourceful."
Well, that's why they stuck around.
Fair enough. Well, since we do have a deal, and she sort of stands up from the sort of larger, somewhat grandiose throne that she had been sort of lounging on, and begins to step down towards you, walking up pretty much right in front of you, sizing you up. She says, "Well, since we have an accord,"
More
and
or
she
less.
reaches out one hand to shake yours and says, "Then Dice, well met. My name is Selkiri Selenum."
All right.
Hopefully
I
together
just kinda-
we should be able to bring Rokas under the back to his place.
As she sort of reaches her hand out, I just kind of reach my hands up to like my chest, kind of wave my hands at her, bound together.
Fair enough. Yeah, she just sort of smiles, and then turns and walks, sort of leaves you there for the most part with Arira, and walks out of the throne room towards what you can hear is a growing commotion down the hallway.
All right. I turn to Orira and say, Ori, are you in there?"
Yes. Sorry, it's hard to talk.
I apologize for not coming back sooner. Believe me, I tried.
It's not your fault. She found me when we put into port, and well, I always hoped, and my hope came true. So everything's gonna be all right, right?
I'll make sure of it. And if it doesn't, well, all work for us, I suppose.
Okay. And you can kind of see she's almost carrying her stomach at this, her belly at this point, and you can see even underneath the dark robes,
Mm-hmm.
like a protrusion pushing out for a second, and you can see her wince in pain. She says, "All right, I'm gonna sit down, okay?"
Take
And
the time that you need.
and she sort of sits on one of the stairs, and she looks to where she's been hearing your voice, and you can see these sort of milky white irises moving back and forth, but very obviously not focusing on you directly, except for exactly when you speak, sort of almost searching for you.
I think for now, I'm just gonna like sit beside her and just grab her hand.
You can see her kind of smile, and the tension from the pain, the general pain in her body, sort of relaxes slightly. Spikes whenever you see these protrusions of whatever. I mean, you would probably know what a Dracolith is, but you know, you can see the pain spike, but she seems to be a little bit more at ease. After only like a few seconds, she sort of looks over to you and just says, "Is it really you?"
Yes. After all, I don't think many people could match wits with her as much as I could. And after all, I like to think, even if she likes to call me good for nothing, I tend to think that I'm at the very least good for a smile. Wouldn't you agree?
You do see a slight smile creep across her face, and she looks at you for a second and just goes, "You're insufferable." And then sort of leans her head on your shoulder, and you can just see her body relax as she drifts off into sleep. Well, you hear the rest of what you assume to be at least one or two of your party beating the shit out of something or other, or having the shit beaten out of them in the hallway. And that's where we're going to end for this week, because it is 8:30 and I have to get ready for work, and I only got 3 hours of sleep today, so it's going to be fun.
Yay!
I would like to just end with, come on now. We both know that's not true. You're living proof of the contrary. Anyways. All right.
And thanks everybody for watching. And I guess next week we're gonna do a fucking Guardians of the Galaxy style breakout.
Next week we kill more
Maybe.
gnomes.
I was a little disappointed you didn't go for a gnome flail.
Well, I was gonna use him as a shield and see if they attacked me, if they'd like thrash through him while I was charging him, but I had him use as a ranged weapon instead.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you next week, maybe. Who knows?